I quit. I'm not doing Two Dads in Tech anymore. Oh,
Yeah.
did we start recording? What's up, Troy?
Yeah, we did. Hey, cut that out, team.
No, don't cut that out. I did that on purpose. I wanted that to be in the episode.
Cut it out. It was a joke.
Oh, don't ever cut. Free. It's stupid. Okay.
What's
How you
up,
doing?
Mom?
Oh man, happy birthday. It's been a minute.
Oh, Valence, I forgot about that. Happy birthday. I can't believe, dude. Wow, I forgot about that.
I know. We had a whole motif. We had a whole motif going on, and we just
we used to say happy birthday and bring up Brian LaManna every single episode, and then we just kind of stopped.
I once heard Brian LaManna did a quadruple backflip into a pool without any water.
That was funny.
I know. I texted him this week. He's such a good guy, man. I just respect that guy so much.
He rejected my ask. I texted him this week as well. And
really?
Respectfully though, he was like, I really can't do that because of these obligations. But it's okay.
Man, crazy couple days for everyone listening. We're recording this on Sunday. So 4 days ago is when we recorded this.
Crazy week. Oh, yeah, so let's go week. Crazy week.
Crazy week. Yeah. Crazy few days, crazy few weeks. How are you doing, man?
Yeah. Crazy week. I think I'm doing all right. You know, like at the end of the day, like I have my priorities, I have my responsibilities that I have to take care of. But just in general, I feel like I felt, if anybody here knows like how the Sunday scaries feel, I had like the Sunday scaries feeling there for a bit where it was just like on edge, anxious. I wouldn't necessarily say demotivated, but like slightly, like it was just, I feel like regardless of like where you stand with any sort of belief or anything like that, because I think everyone knows like this, the world and the country specifically has been through some weird stuff in the last 7 days. Weird stuff, school shootings, assassinations, stabbings on a bus, like weird stuff. I'm going to bring that all up, right? Like that's, so like regardless of where you stand, like at the end of the day, it's felt weird, just like down, dark, kind of like, whoa, like is this, not even is this, but this is reality. Like this is the world we live in. This is what people do. This is, I don't know, like it's, so yeah, I don't know. Therefore, like ever since the bus stabbing, it's just been weird. It's been weird, you know? I don't know. It's a weird week. I think that I was able to forget about it yesterday, like just forget about the week and like go out, hang out with friends and not sit there and like think, because we have the news on. We wake up, have coffee, the news is on. And, you know, the news never really loves to portray like positive things.
Yeah.
And same thing with even just like media outlets in general on short forms. But, and all it was just negative. And so like getting away from that and just going out, hanging out with friends, letting the kids play around, like that was needed, man. But how are you?
Yeah. I wrote a post to the effect of I'm 32. I was born in 93. I don't know everything that happened in the 90s because I'm a child in the 90s, but I feel like the country is more polarized and divided right now than ever before in my lifetime. And it's nerve-wracking. You know, I saw a post yesterday, which was Saturday for those listening on Wednesday morning, that was something to like some super mega viral, like tens of millions of people looking at this post that all it said was, "You going to church tomorrow?" And it was like the week has been so crazy that just like there are people that just like don't know what to do or how to respond. People looking to everything for answers. And, you know, I went to church this morning and I was a little uneasy. I'm like, there's a lot of tension in the world and a lot of crazy people, and a lot of people that feel this way or that about any specific issue, particularly the ones in the last several days. And I have a family. You know, I don't usually feel unsafe, but I don't necessarily think I felt unsafe, but I was like, I don't feel as safe as I usually do. I mean, just being honest, like,
yeah.
So yeah, I'm feeling okay. I think all things considered, I am aware that the things happening in the globe are global events. And I am one person, really an ant in the midst of billions of people doing different things, all of which affect other people's lives in various ways. So like I'm a very small part in a larger world view. But for some reason, and I know so many people felt this way, like this week felt like it affected me. Like it almost felt like this week happened to me. Usually world events, like there's so many bad things that happen. Any week in the news, something happens horrific. I mean, honestly, you can find a horrific thing in the news every week. But I usually see those things happening and think, wow, that's tragic. That's terrible. I'm so sad that that is happening in the world. But this week, it felt like this week just kept happening to me. Like every day, I'm like, oh my God, this is affecting my life and my emotions and my feed and my friends and I'm like, I don't usually feel that way about things, So I don't know. It
Why do
was
you,
different.
why do you think that is?
I think it was, I mean, I'll be raw for a second. I watched the video of the assassination on accident. I would never have intentionally watched that. I just don't want that in my mind. And I saw it before I could react not to see it. That jacked me up, dude. I mean, I have not been able to get that out of my head. And the the feelings I have about it it almost puts me back in these states of mind where I was actually experiencing firsthand traumatizing moments. And a few of them come to mind. I mean, one time I lived in suburbs of Chicago and someone was T-boned right in front of my house. I lived on a 4-lane highway, 45-mile-an-hour road, but like people went 70. And this dude was going 80 and T-boned this other guy going 30, 35, literally right in front of my house. I heard it and it was a shocking sound. I ran outside and I see this dude's car against a tree with his whole front end just like gone. Sprint across the street and he's dying right in front of me. Like I'm trying to talk to him, unresponsive, having a bit of a seizure, blood everywhere. I mean, I was traumatized and there were people behind me and I yelled out, "You call 911." I learned early in life through first aid training and stuff, don't ever say someone call 911. Look someone in the eyes and tell them specifically you are the one calling 911 and watch them do it because groupthink psychology, everyone thinks someone else did it when no one did it. And I watched the fire department show up and they had to rip the doors off the car because he was trapped inside the front seat. The dude died. And like I'm shaking a little bit right now, even talking about this, because I'm watching this happen and it's legitimate trauma being etched in my brain that I will never get rid of. That is the type of feeling I had watching that video. Not because of where I stand on the spectrum politically or just watching someone get sniped
Yeah,
jacked my brain up in a way that I wish I could undo.
yeah,
And I can only expect there are millions, if not hundreds of millions of people that feel pretty much exactly the same way.
yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
wish I could unsee that. Same thing with the Charlotte train murder. Like, I wish I could unsee that, and you can't. That's the problem.
yeah,
You can't unsee that, and that's what I think the world this week went through as an almost group mind, is everyone seeing these things that are, for one person, just ruinous mentally, but so many people seeing it and then reacting to it together, talking about it in groups, seeing other people react to it, and then people on TikTok reacting to their reactions and the reaction videos. And you can't
yeah,
not see those things and you can't unsee them once you see it. So I think people are just dealing with it, man. And
yeah,
that's where my emotions are right now.
yeah. So
It's
I
tough.
want to I want to touch on something that you said in the very beginning, when I kind of turned it on you on how you were feeling, and you mentioned that you were born in the '90s, so you're a child, so you never really got to talk about the experience in the '90s, but you said essentially like we feel more divided than ever, or at least more divided since you've been born. I'll say that. Why do you think that is?
I think the easiest answer I have to that, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, is people think both ends of the spectrum. There's probably a lot of steps in between these two ends, but people think Charlie Kirk was a saint or the devil. And I'm being very general paintbrush because I don't,
Yeah, yeah.
the thing is a double. Yeah, people are like, that guy deserves it. I mean, I've seen that people celebrating it, and people are like, I will never stop fighting for what he believed in. Like that, those two
Yeah.
sides of the coin are just everywhere. And people equate that to who you are as an American and what that means for our country. I think that's my opinion.
Do you think it's bigger than that, than just Charlie Kirk? Do you think there's
Yes.
a bigger reason as to why it feels so divided right now?
Yes. I mean, the V for Vendetta movie and the idea of this guy wearing a mask. And I haven't seen it in so long, although I should watch it again because I think there's a lot of allegorical ways that movie probably applies to us right now. But at the end, there's the dude with the mask dies at some point, and there's like hundreds or thousands of people with the exact same mask, like marching. And it's like really like unsettling scene where you're like, oh my goodness. I think what's happened, two things. People have reacted to this death as an almost challenge to take up a mantle of what they think this person believed in. Like, okay, he's no longer here, so it's my duty to now go continue this voice or this ethos and thesis of his. That, but two, like people who already believed in what that person was doing. I mean, you even think I'm blanking on the name. There's other very prominent figures that do similar things to what Charlie did that are like, well, I will now do what he did. Like, actually, I will go to the campuses, I will speak, I will carry it on, to where it's almost like, man, the amplification of the death actually un not undoes, that's wrong, but magnifies who he was before he died. Um,
Yeah.
and so I think that's a polarizing thing because people feel so differently about what he did and who he was as a person.
Yeah. In your lifetime, do you ever think the country will find a balance of like what's morally right and what's morally wrong? And I wouldn't say have the same beliefs. I don't think everybody should have the same beliefs because at that point you're like a country of what is it, totalitarianism, however you say it, whatever.
Totalitarianism. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, big word. But do you ever think like this country would actually be united?
No. Uh, I have a degree in history, and my wife also has a degree in history. So behind the scenes, I happen to be a history buff who paid way too much money for his degree. And I also went to master's school to get a philosophy and theology degree. And so I've just spent an insane, way too much time reading like the different superpowers of history and the ways that over and over and over and over again, they all go through a similar cycle. You see the Roman Empire, you see this in Chinese history, you see this in every superpower, really as far back as human history can go, goes up and goes down and goes up and goes down and goes up and goes down. I think the concept of a United States is noble, but if you look at the history of the United States as objectively as you can, they've really never been united.
Yeah.
From the concept of the United States, when they broke off from the colonists and England, it started with division and land being stolen and conquering. And it sort of just never ended. And now 250 years removed, like now we're here. And the
Yeah.
United States, like these United States, it's kind of a fallacial term. This will probably offend a lot of people, but like the actual United States have never been fully integrated into a united concept. There's the Civil War, there's the Revolutionary War, there's the Cold War, there's all the wars that people have always felt differently about, whether domestic or globally, that have constantly divided the United States. And if you look back at the history of who a state becomes, even how we've added from 13 colonies now to 50 states, like every state addition is a super divided concept. Hey, you're part
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
United States now. Like, wait a second, I don't want to be. Who cares? You are. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's really not what I think the concept of united means. So no, I don't ever think we're going to be like at a place where it's like, oh, all 340 million people who are in this country love each other and have a similar mind. it wouldn't make sense for us to get there with how super diverse our country is, and then also how melting pot of a demographic, both racially, historically, all the different borders, and even like the removal of borders in some concept with how aggressively globalization is affecting the world and technology is making it easier and easier to travel. I mean, I think we're just going to become more and more of a melting pot. I mean, if I were to guess, I don't have a crystal ball, but that's what makes
Yeah.
sense in my mind.
If you remove the opportunity that the United States had, so I think that's one thing that this country has going for it is just a lot of people have access to opportunity, whether that just be doing things on their own, getting a computer, or even going to like the library, learning things and creating something for themselves. If you remove that, which I don't think this is a strong opinion, but I think it's an opinion. I think that we glorify work way too much in the United States. I think we
Oh yeah.
glorify overworking. I think we glorify career, like all that stuff. But if you remove that from the equation, do you think this country's a good country?
What is good?
Do you think it's a healthy country? Outside of the
What
opportunities
is
that
healthy? I think we have to define the terms. I don't think it's even cop out to do that. I think we have to define the
well,
terms to answer the
keep
question.
unpacking them. Do you think it's a happy country?
I think there are happy people. I think there are happy people in the country. I think there are good things about the country. I think there are healthy people in the country, but it's a comparative concept to say we are good, we are healthy, we are happy because look at the Netherlands, look at Iceland, look at fill in the blank. There's other countries in the world that no matter where we put ourselves on this grading scale, oh, well, that country is healthier statistically. Oh, well, that country's happier statistically. Oh, well, that country is healthier statistically. So then what does it mean? Are we healthy, but not as healthy? Are we unhealthy? Like, where do you draw the line?
Well, let's dig deeper on this because I know I know you have an opinion on this. Do you think we're a healthy country in general?
I don't think we're a healthy, like
Of
physical health, mental health. What do you mean?
physical, mental health, yes. Not
So
healthy
like
as in like, are we?
physiological, are we healthy? I
Yes.
think I think physiologically the entire world is unhealthy.
Interesting. You think so? The entire
Yes.
world. So like as an
Yes.
absolute.
As a human race, I think physiologically we are unhealthy. And I think there are those who have really gone after being healthy with their diet, with their mental routine, with meditation, spirituality, like whatever their thing is to break their cycle. But like we are becoming unhealthier as humans. That is the whole effect of technology, of work and how work affects us, of getting further and further away from who we used to be, which is hunters and gatherers. People used to walk 10, 20, 30,000 steps a day by just surviving. And now some days I look at my watch and it's like, you walked 300 steps. I'm like, oh, that's because I went from my bed to the kitchen to get coffee and then to my office. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yikes, I need to go run 5 miles to like undo
Yeah.
this. But like, that is not the norm. I think it's the exception is being healthy. I think the norm is actually being unhealthy.
Do you think the inverse could also be said that we have so much study and so much research on what's unhealthy and what's healthy that we are, I think as a whole, I think general paintbrush, we are very unhealthy. Now, do you think that the inverse can be said because we have all this research from hundreds and hundreds of years of what's healthy and what's not, that it's actually easier than ever to be healthy because we know what is and what isn't?
Yeah. I think the inverse could be said. And I think that applies to so much. The access to knowledge is better now, even than when our parents were in school, even than when you and I were in school. Like
Yeah.
I remember having to do like graduate thesis and stuff where I have to do annotated bibliographies and I was actually looking at an actual stack of books in front of me. And I'm like, the concept of doing that now, why would I do that? Like these
Yeah.
books are immediately out of date the moment they are published because of how fast technology allows information and knowledge to change. Now I'm like, obviously there's a point where you draw a line and say, well, this book is still valid, but like why do an annotated bibliography with 30 books when I could get 500 resources that are instantly verifiable and accessible on one screen and not at the library? So yeah, I think our access to knowledge gives us power. So in one, on the one sense, knowledge is power, but I think knowledge tends to create apathy. You know, like, oh yeah, I know I'm being unhealthy, and you can show me all the reasons why, but like at some point you're so inundated with all of the different verified sources saying what you're doing is unhealthy. Like, look, drinking alcohol, it is bad to consume alcohol, but people will find every which way to continue drinking, and it's fine. Like, drink in moderation, drink socially, have fun. I don't care. I don't drink, but I don't care if other people drink.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
consuming alcohol is bad. I mean, like, that's just science. So I think we do so many different things to accept the things that we know are unhealthy because of the ways that we cope with that unhealthiness, thinking this is better for me because I open up in social settings or like whatever reason you have. I don't know. I think every argument has a pro and con, but you know, I think these are interesting thought experiments.
Yeah. And then one thing you mentioned was the access to information now is, I mean, knowledge is power. And I agree that there's, it's never been easier to access any information that you want in the world than it is today. Tomorrow, it's probably going to be even easier just because that's how fast things are moving. But if everyone has the same access to information, then how do you define and how does one become like an expert in a specific topic if we all have the access up to that topic?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is actually where like the idea of equity comes in play and an equitable society. Because what you said is everyone has the same access to information. And actually, that's not true. When you look at all of the people, even in just a country, there's still a majority with an unequitable access to everything, to voting, to information, to education, to healthy food, you know, all the different things that like, then it's like, well, is it this person or this group of people or this city's fault? Flint, Michigan, great example. I don't know what the latest is on that. So someone could please tell me or I can research it right after this episode. But like, how does a city in the United States not have clean water? I don't know. Like that's that's crazy to me. Like you'd expect in the United States, some people would say we are a superpower in the world, like the number one country in the world. Like how do cities that big have terrible drinking water? But like they do. So it's like an equitable society. I don't think people have the same access to almost anything. And then you think about where people are located. Someone in New York City who may be in poverty might have a different access to someone in the sticks of North Dakota because of the amount of time it would take for them to get from where they are to where they're going. So I don't know. It's an interesting question.
What's the biggest personal cost that you've paid chasing success and chasing money?
That's a great question. You answer first while I figure out what's happening with my video.
I was like, wait, is he still there? The biggest personal cost that I've paid while chasing success. Hmm. I think biggest personal cost is probably right now, and I would say the personal cost is like my my mental well being. Um, I'd say normally I'm very positive, and I'm very like I look at the positive side to everything. I'm always like, ah, I'll figure it out. I'll make it work. Things like that. I wouldn't. By the way, everyone, Daniel just like got cut out of this recording, but I'm gonna go ahead and continue. But I wouldn't say that like I've given up a lot in regards to like family time and stuff like that, but I have given up a lot of my mental health. Like I when I was in sales, it was my mental health was good because I was making a lot of money. I was doing well. I had balance. I hung out with my family. I had fun on weekends. And going off on my own, I guess you could say, is chasing success, trying to chase a better and more enriched life, has definitely like taken. Again, I'm normally really positive, but like I'm still mostly positive, but I've noticed that there's more negative thoughts that I think about sometimes. So I think that's it. I think I've done a really good job at making sure that I make time for my wife and for my kid. I think I've done a good job at that, and I don't ever want to lose sight of that.
I think you've done a good job of that too, for what it's worth. It's not easy to make that balance or to strike that balance. And I think in our season of life, it feels maybe like we have more pressure to strike that balance. You
Yeah,
know, our kids are so malleable at this age
dude.
and they develop so rapidly that it's like every missed opportunity, at least for me, feels like I missed a whole season of their life. And
Yeah,
so I don't
yeah,
want to miss a moment. You know, I don't want to miss a thing. Like I literally don't want to miss a thing because I'm like, if I miss that thing, it's gone. Near y'all talked about this in 4 episodes ago, where he missed a moment in his kid's life that was important, but he doesn't know what it was about because he missed it.
yeah,
His daughter tried to show him something, and he was distracted by his phone and looked up, and
yeah,
the moment was gone. Can't redo that. You can't replay that. You can't make that moment again. Like that specific moment, it's lost. And
yeah. Yeah, literally,
yeah,
I'm technically jump off this podcast. I'm taking Liam to go play 9 holes because he's been playing in the sim and
I
he's
love it.
dude striking the ball. And I'm like, you know what,
I was watching that video you sent me. He's looking good. That swing, man. That's a powerful swing. Next Tiger Woods on our hands.
dude? And he's a hoot right now. It's been a blast. But anyways, yeah. So what about you? What's like the biggest personal cost that you've paid trying to chase success, or even if it's success, just we can relate that to dollars if you want to.
I think the biggest personal cost sometimes is my mental health. I
Yes.
feel like
Yeah.
I'm not proud of that, but I may have even talked about this in our last episode, but sometimes it's almost like I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, geez, like I'm not doing the things that I know I need physically, mentally, spiritually to be healthy. Like I've been so consumed in succeeding
Yeah.
in all the different metrics that look like success with Two Dads in Tech and with Beehive and with Palmetto Parents and all the different things that make us money. I've been so focused on that that I've basically just stopped focusing on these things that are actually what help me to be more successful in these other things. And so I get upside down, to be honest. And I think what I'm learning, like right now, this week,
Yeah. Yeah.
today, what I'm learning
Yeah.
about myself is I have to treat these things that positively impact my mental health as absolutely have to haves priorities every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And counterintuitively, spending the time to do these things for me causes these other things I'm usually so focused on to perform better. The return is tenfold. If I wake up earlier, okay, I'm sacrificing sleep, but I actually have more energy. If I, you know, spend time, I pray. If I spend time in prayer, which my brain can be like, oh, this is such a waste of time. Actually, quote, wasting that time affects everything positively for the rest of my day. If I go do yoga is so hard for me because it's one, actually physically demanding,
Yeah.
but
It's hard.
also feels like I'm wasting time. Like actually,
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
like
why
sitting in
struggle?
this hot room for an hour
Yeah.
stretching. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'd rather run or work out
Yeah.
or swim, doing anything that feels like I'm making like forward motion or doing something. Yoga feels like I'm not doing something, but it's actually so impactful for my mental state, for my physical well-being. So all these things that feel like I'm not doing anything are actually doing the most things. And it's super just countercultural for me to spend the time doing these things where I feel like I'm actually wasting time that actually causes a positive effect on everything else in my day. So that's what I'm learning is like, I need to prioritize these things that are hard to prioritize.
And the way you're saying it is maybe you don't prioritize them as much as you would like to. Is that a fair
No,
notion? And is what's the reason?
I blame the amount of time I have. And what's interesting is like everyone has the same amount of time in their day. You simply do what you are prioritizing.
Yeah.
And when I'm when I'm out of time, it's because I've wasted time. I mean, that's plain and simple. Either I've slept in too much or I went to bed too late or even if you I just learned, I don't even know if this is true because it was a totally unverified source, but apparently Elon Musk divides his day into 5-minute increments, which doesn't sound that far fetched. I'm sure he doesn't do it like
Yeah. But you run.
calculably, but like
Yeah.
5-minute increment. And he's like, I'm going to do this task for 5 minutes. And it might be a micro task or a subtask. The task might be to start a task, but he's like, this is what I'm doing for 5 minutes. This is what I'm going to do. And you think if he's doing SpaceX, he's doing Twitter, he's doing Neural, I think is I can't remember the brain chip one. He's doing all this stuff.
Neuralink, yeah.
Where I'm like, all right, 30 minutes, an hour, I have these blocks. And like, I'm pretty flexible with them sometimes, unless it's like legit meetings that I'm attending. I'm like 2 hours of outbound. Like, okay, I might do 45 minutes of outbound, 30 minutes of, follow up. So, okay, well, what'd you do with the additional 45 minutes? You had 2 hours blocked. So it's like staying prioritized. It's like, oh, I don't have any time. It's like, well, what do you do with all this free time?
Yeah.
I scrolled. I stared at a blank wall. I looked busy, but I wasn't actually busy.
Yeah.
So I think it's just being responsible, having great time management is such a life hack. I mean, it really is.
It is. And it's harder to actually do it. And it's harder to stick with it. I won't say it's not hard to do it for a day. It's not hard to do it for 2 days in a row. It's hard to do it for that 30th day, 31st day, 32nd day. Like that's when things get tough. I got to jump here soon, but I want to ask something. And we're getting in this age where technology is getting crazy. I actually just read that they are about to create the first robot that can actually birth a human if people cannot afford IVF and things like that. So like they are replicating everything that you need from a woman, putting it in a robot, and a robot will have the kid, which is crazy. And it's still like early in this testing period, but we're going through all these technological like transformations right now, and I feel like faster than ever. And one thing that I'm curious about is, and we're not far from it if we're not already doing it, is I'd call it like digital immortality, where somebody passes away. There's like a real live version of them that is digital, where you can converse with them, have conversations with them, things like that. Is that something that you want, or is that something that kind of scares you? What are your thoughts on having somebody living forever more than just images?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I just learned that there are apparently 200 or so people in the world that are cryogenically frozen forever. And their hope, it started back in like 1957. And there's a whole bunch of like ethical stuff around this. Like, is it ethical at all this weird stuff. Well, 200 people, give or take, around the world that are frozen in these chambers in the hopes that someday we will invent technology that can either, one, revive them back to life, crazy, or two, harvest their conscience into some, thing like what you're describing. The easy answer or the short answer to that is I don't want that. I think it has to do with what I believe in my worldviews. Like I just don't need that because my conscience in my own belief system carries on. I have no need for the digital concept of that. But I think too, this is where the ethics gets into question. Like there are, I think actually probably very good things that could come scientifically from people volunteering to do that. It's weird. I'm not even suggesting that people should do that. But like, imagine what you could learn about the evolution of human health and disease prevention, and think of like microbiology and people out there like trying to figure out how to cure uncurable diseases. Like if we had a snapshot in time now, imagine what someone in 2075 can learn with the technology they'll have in 50 years from what now looked like biologically. All we really have is fossils and like observable data. But what if we had like the actual human specimen? I mean, it just gets so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. But what about you? I mean, would you digitize your conscience?
I don't know. I think of it less as mine right now. Like the way I think of it is, okay, if my wife passed away, my mom passed away, or something, like, would I want there to be a digital version that I can interact with? And I don't think so. Like I would have, I don't know, like almost like a chat GBT that's them, like, and I'm sure that's going to be a thing within the next 5 to 10 years where it's like,
It's already a thing.
okay,
It's
well, then
already a
it's
thing.
and like, that doesn't surprise me, right? That doesn't surprise me at all because like life is life, and like life is the most important thing and the only thing that we really have at the end of the day. And so,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I think about it. I haven't thought about it too much. I just started thinking about it when I asked that question. I didn't think about it ever before. And so I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to interact. I feel like I'd want to interact, but like I wouldn't want it to manipulate me into thinking that like that person's still here or anything like that. It's interesting.
I know. It would
Like,
require a lot of very careful understanding of this is not my wife, but is maybe a coping mechanism to help me grieve my wife or remember my wife, you know.
Imagine, now I'm just thinking of all this crazy stuff. Like, imagine being able to, this is crazy, ingest every note on your notes app, picture in your photo album, video, yada yada. So now this digital person who's no longer here, you have the memory of everything that they've ever gone through because you have everything from like their baby pictures and maybe trips from Disney World, all that stuff, and you can just upload it into one space. And now it's just like this person
Yep.
knows everything about its life, and you can always ask a question. That would be kind of cool. Like, hey, how'd you like that?
Yeah.
Whatever Mexico trip. But even then, still a very weird concept to think about, and it's very,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I kind of get, I'm getting like the
Watch the movie
Ugh.
Goosebumps. Watch the movie Transcendence with Johnny Depp. I won't give anything away. Totally spot on what we're talking about right now. Goes super deep into this concept of digitizing your conscience. And it's like really eerie. It's a great movie. I watch it. It's pretty old. It's like 10 years old, but it's so good. I highly recommend it. Transcendence with Johnny Depp. Speaking of all the health stuff, we are sponsored in this episode by Momentous. And so if you're looking to start your health routine, Troy and I both are very into protein, creatine, collagen peptides, particularly me with collagen peptides. If you've listened to Two Dads in Tech before, you know that I just have chronic kind of degenerative disc issues. And yeah, chronic everything. Collagen peptides really are a good supplement for recovery, and Momentous does it better than anyone else. I mean, they're just, you know, verified, clean source, you know, all the way from wherever the heck in Europe that they're sourcing all of these materials. And, you know, the Olympics use them, the, you know, professional athletes use them, but check out livemomentous.com. Use code 2dads at checkout. You're going to save 35%. If you don't know anything about protein or creatine or collagen peptides, it's a super easy thing to just check out, see if you like it, and you're saving a bunch of money right off the bat. So check it out, livemomentous.com. Use code 2dads for 35% off. Troy, this was a great episode.
Dude, this was an ad hoc episode with no notes, no preparation, or just like, yo, let's talk. And I love this episode. I thought it was,
I know. I think this one actually has maybe more nuggets than most.
yeah, this was awesome. Anyways, yeah, everybody, Momentous, it's great. One thing I'll say about it, most protein, you put a scoop in a cup of water and you stir it with a spoon, you can never get rid of the chunks. This is the only protein I've ever had where like you don't need a shaker bottle. You can literally just stir the spoon, the chunks go away. Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's awesome.
This is great. Dude, yeah, great episode. Everyone, 2dadsintech.com. We're supposed to say it at the beginning. If you're listening this far, subscribe on YouTube.
Yes,
it really,
please.
really, really helps us. And then 5 stars on Apple, Spotify.
5 stars. 5 stars on Apple, 5 stars on Spotify if they do stars. I don't know. But follow us everywhere at 2Dads in Tech.
Everywhere.
Please do subscribe on YouTube. Check us out, 2dadsintech.com. We have a newsletter every week as well. We'll see you next Wednesday, everyone. Thank you for listening.